was working at her feet. I looked in the mirror. I saw a dark entity standing behind me in the corner. I was like, I don't know if you're open to, like, spirits or anything like that, but I feel like something's in the room with us right now. And she's like, oh, that's girlfriend. She's this entity that's followed me for years. And she gets volatile at some points, and she hates men. I picked her up at an apartment, and she hasn't let go since.
From the dawn of the spoken word, storytelling has been the backbone of human culture, warning of looming dangers and evoking our most personal fears. What you're about to hear are the real-life experiences of everyday people, brave enough to share their terrifying tales. Tales where the horror hits close to home. I'm your host, Danny. Welcome to the Hometown Horrors Podcast. Listen, if you dare. Howdy, folks. Welcome back to the Hometown Horrors Podcast. I am here today with Erica, and the story of our meeting is kind of more nebulous than the rest. So it was a Saturday morning, and I really wanted to get a massage. So I called into a place, and like you had just started there. Your schedule had not yet been booked. So we met on that exact same day. And usually during a massage, I'm spacing out the entire time. But turns out you had some spooky stories.
That's true, yep.
Yeah. Now you have your own studio, whereas before you had a room at a different one.
Yep, I just started a few months ago, finally branched out on my own. I've always worked for people, and so it was just time to become my own boss. I've been doing this for pretty much a decade, so it was time.
And the stories that you were telling me during that last session were pretty intense.
Yeah, I'm so glad I actually had someone to share it with. I haven't spoken to many people about that kind of thing. In our industry, we're kind of more attuned to energies and stuff. I think it just goes hand in hand with us being kind of empathic. A lot of massage therapists are that way. So, I think the experiences I had kind of hit me harder than maybe other people.
Yeah.
So my parents had us move around a lot as children, even up into young adulthood. I've probably moved about 15 times in my life. Many of those places were older homes.
Yeah.
They oftentimes give off a specific energy when there has been so much history in the place. But I would say except one house in particular, everything was pretty innocuous. But this one specific house that we moved to in the year of, I think, 2001, I was about 12 years old at the time. It was a house from the 1880s, and it had a pretty intense history with death from old age, a couple of suicides, and just some rather tragic events that surrounded the property. One particular experience that really stuck with my brother, and as he passed it on to me myself, we learned that a young man, one of the founding owners of the home, had hung himself in the attic space.
Oh my God, that's never good.
So a pretty traumatic death. I believe no one found him for a very long time either. So we ended up finishing that attic space, and it was a space for my brother to go live up in. So it was a completely finished room, but he would experience incidents up there and be unable to, I don't know.
Articulate or explain?
Yeah. He would have nightmares. He would hear noises all the time. Granted, I'm sure some of that could have been mice and
I mean, attics are just spooky by nature.
They are spooky by nature. But he absolutely was terrified of the space, even though he had to sleep up there. Even prior to us finding out that there was such a traumatic death up there, the energy that it emitted it just wasn't a space that you entered unless you had to.
For people that move a lot, usually it's easier to get in and out of a house if the listing's low. And usually they'll list things low if there's some kind of history that makes the house tainted for people in the area.
Very true.
Was that disclosed that there had been deaths in the house, or was it just so far back that it's not even worth mentioning?
Because it wasn't a murder, I think that they didn't have to disclose that.
That is a good point.
The only reason we found out was the neighbors across the street, very old couple that had been there.
Probably seen the history of the house.
The whole history of the house. Knew about it. And they were very good friends with the most recent owner. She had died in her chair in the living room.
Oh, was she an original owner?
She was a descendant of the original owner. I think they were called the Sotherbys. And I want to say her death was not a violent one. She just died in her chair.
Died peacefully in the home of her family.
Exactly. But it does leave a
trace.
Mark, a trace. Yeah. And no other house that we ever stayed in left quite a mark as that one did. I would constantly have sleep paralysis, which was never ever an issue prior to this house. Constantly. At least a few times a week. I would wake up unable to move. And in my room, we had loft beds, so bunk beds just up top. And so I would always sleep facing the door. And the bunk beds had slats in them, so if you're laying down, you can look through the slats out the door, essentially. And one particular night that I was waking up in this state of paralysis, I can see at the end of my bed just two little eyes peeking through the slats. And in my kind of sleep-addled brain, I almost thought it was one of my cats, but a cat could not climb up the slats.
Yeah, and just be hanging
vertical.
there in between.
Yep. Yeah. And no ears, no response. Obviously, I'm unable to move, so I'm just staring at this thing. It's staring back at me. And all of a sudden, I start to see this little hand crawl over the top slat.
Oh my God.
Just this, and it's dark in there, so it's just this little
dark worm. Yep. And then there are more of them just coming over the edge of the slat.
Yes.
Oh my
and
God.
As I'm staring at it in horror, unable to scream, unable to open my mouth, it felt like I was in molasses. And I start to feel my blanket slip a little bit and slip and slip. And I am trying with all of my might to scream. It just will not come out of my mouth. And so I'm just watching in pure horror as my blanket starts to peel away from my body. And as quickly as it began, it ended. And I was suddenly able to use my arms again to pull my blanket back up. Heart racing, can't quite get a grip on if I'm actually dreaming or not.
Yeah.
What is happening? So that was a very poignant experience that is just seared into my memory from that place.
It's very in line with a lot of other sleep paralysis stories we've heard. Olivia, my girlfriend in the first episode, I don't know if this was sleep paralysis or just an uncanny experience.
Yeah.
She was sleeping downstairs in the basement, big TV is on. And she wakes up in the middle of the night because the TV had that blue screen where the screensaver is bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
And she goes to either turn it off or turn it back on to a channel. I don't remember exactly which, but as she was laying sideways on the couch, she put the remote down. And as she's looking at the ground, she feels something perch at the end of the couch. And then she feels hands touch her feet.
Yeah.
And they start going up her legs.
Oh my God.
And she's got the blanket on her and goes to throw it off. And the moment she does, it's just gone. It dissipates.
Ugh. It's been since I was 12 since that occurred, but it's so fresh. All of the details are still just right there.
It becomes one of those defining experiences.
It absolutely does. It was absolutely a first-time experience. So with that house, I was the new kid on the block. So all of the kids, and this was a town of maybe 1,000 people. So Podunk, there's a party store and there's a gas station.
Oh,
not much
what
else.
state was it in?
Michigan.
Michigan.
Yes.
There we go.
Yep. So I made friends rather quickly. We lived right next to the elementary school. And my friends would refuse to stay at my house. There was a stigma and not legends, but
urban myths.
Urban myths surrounding our specific house. And I would always try to have my birthday parties at the house. I would always end up having to have them at other places. None of my friends would ever want to stay at the house. And understandably, I suppose, but it was always an issue for me trying to get people to hang out with me there. It was always, we're going to go somewhere else. They would blatantly say, like, I'm too scared to go into your house. Like, it just...
I don't want it getting on me. Whatever's there.
Yes, yep. So they were all picking up something too. We also had what was called a Michigan basement. I don't know if you're familiar with what that is.
I'm not.
So it's essentially a cellar. It's underground. Most oftentimes the walls are like cobblestone, dirt floor. It allows like moisture just to kind of get down in there.
It's damp.
Very damp.
Kind of musky.
Very creepy. All the lights are just like the pull string lights, like the flickering on and off. And in our basement, it spanned the entirety of the floor of the house. So it was rather large, but it had an offshoot of like, it was like a pantry, like dry storage.
Yeah, like shelving, I guess.
And since it's subterranean, it stays cool down there. So it was kind of a natural cellar. And we actually ended up hosting a haunted house there.
What better place?
Perfect place. We would set up little like booth sections on different scary things. But in 2003 or 2004, we had a massive ice storm that knocked out our power for about a week. So we would have to bring things down from the fridge to keep it cool and just make sure like the cats were taken care of because that's where they had their litter boxes and stuff.
Of course.
So my task was to clean the litter boxes or to feed the cats. And there was one incident during that ice storm where I went down, it was in the dark, and I think I sat down to play with one of the cats and it kind of scuttled off. I was sitting right in front of the wall where the pantry began. So staring at the wall, right around the corner is the door to the pantry. And I just remember something that seemed like a young female entity kind of like coming out of the pantry. I'm not familiar with any history regarding a young girl there. It was a shadow of something, but not like something tangible.
Yeah.
But it gave off young and female. And I almost have this feeling that it had permeated my dreams somehow. It almost felt like somehow I had actually dreamed that I was sitting in the basement and experiencing this. I don't know how to describe that sensation.
Maybe it was what was watching you that night?
It could be, yeah.
If it had some kind of fascination with you, that might have been.
I was the young girl in the house.
Yeah.
So could have been something that took a liking to me.
Finally, someone I can hang out with.
Right.
Yeah.
The horse girl. And it was just little incidents like that, or I would be on the computer, and at that point we had dial-up, so it was a shared computer that was on the landing that everybody had access to. There was a closet that was in the back corner, and everything creaked and groaned in this house. Everything was wood and obviously over 100 years old. So being on the computer and then like the door just coming open from the closet, or little like creeping noises along the floor that you want to chalk up to it just being an old house. But after you hear the history of it, you're like, I don't know. I'm not quite sure.
There is like an expression that old houses have a personality.
Yes.
And I wonder if it's just because it soaks up all of the energies of the people that have lived there and maybe died there.
I think that's a fair point. With those experiences that he had up there, he did have one incident where I believe he was sleeping and came out because his room was separated from what we would consider the rec room up there. And my brother experienced a remnant of what had happened up there. And obviously what had happened was a young man, one of the original owners of the home, had committed suicide by hanging. And it was the witness of somebody swinging from a rope, dead-eyed, just there.
Like he came out of sleep to see it?
Yes.
Outside of his room?
Yes. Oftentimes that stuff would occur, and it seems like most of it would have happened during the nighttime. Yeah.
I wonder what it is about that time that makes everything kind of pop to life.
Is it supposed to be when the veil is the thinnest? I know that's...
I hear that about like Halloween, but I'm
sewing.
not sure about like during the 24-hour span of the day.
Maybe it's just the quietest. You're able to receive more.
Yeah. Night is like a sensory deprivation experience. Everything's darker. More is going on inside of your head than outside. Yeah. And your imagination will just naturally try to make sense out of things that's going on around you. And being in darkness would be just time for it to run wild.
Yep.
That is interesting, because I wonder if death leaves its stamp more so than people living.
I mean, it's quite a movement of energy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of it stays behind.
For sure. We play with these ideas on the show all the freaking time. And the little theory I've come up with is that it's like saves in a video game.
Oh.
But you're a human, you have a lot more to your existence than, a video game. So maybe when you pass, not all of your quote unquote save data ascends or descends with you as you leave the mortal realm,
Interesting.
So the little moments in your life become part of that space.
Oh, that's wild.
Like little spiritual seeds that are left.
Yeah, the image that I had in my mind was getting beamed up, like in Star Trek, just leaving a trail behind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is terrifying. I don't mean to derail, but have you ever heard the theory that when they actually beam up, they're being cloned?
Yes.
Okay. I'll
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah. It's really creepy. I'm not going into the whole thing. So basically, when people are beamed up and down from ship to planet in Star Trek, they're essentially just being cloned in a different location. But the original person is killed in that process. So you're not the person that ends up on, if I beamed from Manassas to Mexico, like I would essentially die, and then a perfect clone of me would beam into Mexico.
Yeah.
That's so creepy.
How did they get away with that morally?
I don't know that it was ever established as canon in the show.
Oh.
But if you connect the dots, that's so scary.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I suppose you have to suspend some belief when you're in sci-fi, but
imagine every time you use a cell phone or something, you died and then you didn't remember that you actually died.
That's so wild. What transfers over?
I think it's exactly you in that moment, because you wouldn't realize that you ceased to exist.
That's kind of like that video game, Soma.
Soma. No, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it just kind of reminded me of that.
Spoilers for Soma.
It's been out for so long.
Yeah, it's your fault at this point if you don't know.
Yes. Oh, man.
I gotta play it. It's one of those games that, as someone that loves spooky content, I look it up and I see it in lists. I'm like, maybe one of these days. No, I'll check that out.
Mm-hmm. My husband and I own a gaming center in Fairfax.
Really?
Yep. The Cave. It's right across from George Mason University.
Okay, yeah, I know where that is.
Yep. So lots of consoles set up. We have all of the classic consoles, everything from Atari to most recent PS5 and all that kind of stuff.
Shouts to the Cave, dog. Go hit up the Cave.
Super Smash tournaments every week.
Melee? Or
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're taking me back. What is your schedule? Is it 6 days a week?
I am here 4 days a week. My other job is 3, so I'm working every day.
Forget that mess, man.
It's only because I'm trying to build this up.
Yeah. It would be worth it to have something of your own at the end of it.
Mm-hmm. I'm very adamant about having more than one stream of income, especially in this industry. It's extremely volatile. There will be weeks where you get nothing. There will be weeks where you get 30 appointments, especially during the summertime. There's generally a lull, and you just have to be able to plan for that. So having multiple streams, like our side gigs, we raise giant rabbits. So
big buns.
And we also have a side antique and thrift business. So I go find stuff at thrift stores and estate sales, all that, auctions and stuff like that. So
that might lead nicely into the next topic, because you picked up something crazy from a thrift.
Oh, yes, the skull, the Memento Mori skull. Boy, that was by pure happenstance. It was at an estate auction. It was online, so I could see pictures of it. And the lot was just 5 or 6 different kind of Halloween-esque items, little skulls and stuff. But the only reason I bid on this item was because I saw something in the midst of it that really struck me as odd. And it was this hand-carved Meiji period, which is a period in Japan, pretty similar in time frame to the Victorian period, wooden skull humidor. And surrounding it, going through its eye and out of its mouth, was an hand-carved ivory snake. And I saw it. out of the grouping, and it's just something about it, just I zeroed in on it. And so I brought it home, and things began to happen at home. So I kept it out of the house in like a plastic display case out on our porch. But the times that it was inside, it would emit this almost chaotic energy that would cause anxiety. And I decided that it was not going to stay in the home. It seemed to almost be causing discourse between my husband and I. It was almost like a cursed object.
Kind of like in Harry Potter when you have the Horcrux on you, it kind of makes you feel bad. It gets you into arguments.
Yep, tired,
drained.
Irritable. So I ended up selling it at an expo. A lady picked it up, and she was like enamored by it. I got a pretty penny for it, I will say that. Like, I think I spent, I don't know, $30 on the lot, and this thing is worth at least $600.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I ended up getting like $650 or something for it.
That's not bad at all.
No, it's pretty much a one-of-a-kind piece.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't care what I have to pay for this. I will pay. And I was just like, well, just pay what I priced it at and you can have it.
Yeah.
And I was like super glad to see it go. But there was also a portion of me that was like, Smeagol with the ring. Or Bilbo when he gives Frodo the
it's
ring.
Like, it's out of my possession though.
But yeah, it's out of my possession.
Despite all the weirdness and trauma.
But I like still like didn't want to give it up.
Yeah.
Like something was preventing me from wanting to give it up. And I'm not sure like what had latched and what didn't want to quite leave. But I knew like the best course of action was to get it out of the house. We had in a similar lot, not from the same sale, had picked up several antique dolls. Definitely at some point in the 1800s, cracked, hand painted, just very uncanny valley faces. And it was interesting. You would think that those would be the kind of things that would have emitted something like negative.
Yeah, it had some kind of weird energy to it.
But it was the opposite with those. So
it was the unassuming thing. I mean, it's still a skull.
Yeah, well, it was pretty hardcore. But like these dolls exuded positive energy. And when I sold those to a lady, she was so over the moon about them. And I even let her know, I was like, I know a lot of people have like superstitions and stuff behind like creepy dolls and all that. And I was like, there's nothing that I've ever sensed with these that you need to worry about. Like, if anything, the child who had them probably had a great childhood.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting the differences between those items, the feelings that you got.
I guess it just means that the energy that was there, whatever it was, attaches to it. Maybe it was someone's cherished item. And I'd also think that if something was haunted, that would be a selling point for some people because they would want to see if it's real.
Yeah, exactly. People will often ask me if the items are haunted because they're antiques and some of them are creepy.
Yeah.
But that's
like
kind of my
Chucky doll.
Yeah.
Did anyone die around it?
Yep. Or we had a really creepy doll head mold. It was like this metal mold.
That is creepy.
And inside was the clay version of it, like the clay
like a perfect mold.
So that the plastic or the rubber would mold around it. And so it just cocoon it in this metal thing. And it was a crying baby. And the face of this thing, like, it's one of those molds where you probably could have made it into a cake. Like, if you wanted to put cake mix in it. But that didn't have any, like, energy or anything associated with it. But people would ask me, like, why do you have that? Why would you buy that? Like, because it's awesome and so weird and it's an oddity. And that's, like, kind of my niche. It has always been what I've been drawn to are the oddities. And I think I've become pretty good at seeking them out. But that's leading up into the most recent experience that I've had, and more so as an adult, like an entity experience.
Yeah.
I feel like once I came out of childhood, those entities that I was seeing or like the shadow forms kind of just went away as I matured. Like I wasn't as receptive to it, maybe. I mean, I went through a period of being purely atheistic and closing myself off to anything spiritual in general.
I think it's a phase for people.
Well, my dad's a priest, so I was, raised very Orthodox. So I think just the change was a partial rebellion. But I worked very briefly for a place in Falls Church, and they did a lot of energy work. The owner, that was like her specialty. I don't know which sect they were part of, but they would have full moon events and guided meditations, all that kind of stuff.
Cold Case Western Australia is a new true crime podcast series produced on behalf of the WA Police Force Special Crime Squad. The series examines unsolved homicide cases, some dating back several decades, in the world's largest policing jurisdiction. You'll hear new case details and insights from the investigating detectives and forensic experts. There are now $1 million rewards attached to each unsolved homicide in Western Australia. You can listen to Cold Case Western Australia wherever you get your podcasts or by visiting the WA Police Force website.
Hello.
Yeah, sometimes the candle likes to pop off really hard. And not to be spooky, but it seems like there's a spirit in the room when it really just...
It's very intense right now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's girlfriend. That's who I'm about to talk about.
Maybe.
This was definitely a turning point for me, opening myself up more spiritually to things. I just found more openness and receptiveness to doing so at this place. And I worked on a lady who had a entity attached to her that was following her, where it didn't matter if she moved, it just continuously followed her. And it didn't like her dating men. She would get really negative experiences like poltergeist activity. I don't know if it was just disapproving, but it was always when she would bring a man home. So I worked on her, and in that specific room, there's a mirror a bit lower so I could see myself in it. I was working at her feet, and I looked in the mirror. I saw a dark entity standing behind me in the corner, just standing there. And I could see it in the mirror so vividly, and it felt like a female. It felt very feminine, and I was like, I don't know if you're open to like spirits or anything like that, but I feel like something's in the room with us right now.
And she hadn't told you anything about it?
Nothing about it. And she's like, what are you sensing? And I was like, well, it's definitely feminine, and she's just standing over my shoulder in the corner of the room. And she's like, oh, that's girlfriend. She's this entity that's followed me for years. And she gets volatile at some points, and she hates men. She said it just like so casually. She's like, when I see her, she comes across as an old woman. I picked her up at an apartment, and she hasn't let go since. And I've just gotten so used to the fact that she's there that it's pretty crazy that you're saying this now. I hadn't heard from her in a while, and she's just talking like she's this old friend, and she's like, I really wish she would leave me alone. She's killed my love life, and she destroys like any semblance of me wanting to be with someone. She always scares them off, and so she would start to explain like this poltergeist activity, and every time I'd look in the mirror, she's just there. She didn't move. The whole time she's just standing there. And so I was like, is it okay if I like turn the lights up a little bit? And that image is just seared into my brain. That lady came back, I think, I don't know, maybe a month later, and she did not show up, but I also was not in the same room as I was. And this room was filled with all of the spiritual accoutrements, tools that my boss would use to do readings and seances and meditations and stuff.
So it was kind of a hot spot for talking to and maybe channeling spirits.
I even asked her afterwards, I was like, do you ever experience this kind of activity in that room? And she's like, all the time. That's the point. It is attuned to that. And she's like, the fact that you experience something like that means you're opening yourself up to the possibility of it. That was like a very defining moment for me as an adult, re-engaging in that side of things.
Yeah, beyond the suspension of disbelief, beyond just, I had this weird childhood experience, but maybe it was just my imagination.
Yeah, the belief in the other really allows for many different things. I think it's helped with my creativity.
Oh, for sure.
Just being more of an empathetic person in general. knowing there's so many facets to the human experience, and to not allow myself to consider that, and now has happened to me. It's like, that would be selfish not to do.
And you mentioned it at the beginning of the episode. You didn't have anyone to tell these experiences to. All of the episodes are, this is that moment where I can say the crazy thing that happened to me that no one else would want to listen to or believe.
Yeah. Well, and I think growing up in such a religious household, they would be considered angels or demons.
There might be a spin on it that maybe would not have represented what it actually was to you in that moment.
Yep.
Because we've had this experience on the show too, that if there's like a religious family member, they'd be like, well, that's not in God's design, so it can't exist. Yeah. Or, that was a divine thing. That was a spiritual experience.
Yep. I wouldn't say my parents actively were like brimstone and fire kind of people, but it would definitely have been a spin on, well, it's God trying to tell you something. And so
it's terrifying.
It's terrifying. I don't want to experience this. Not as a kid. Like, I just want to play.
Do people usually piss their pants when God talks to them?
Well, I don't ever want to experience a true angel, I don't think. They're supposed to be terrifying. It's been quiet since. It was in 2023, so about March of 2023. So that was really the last time I've had anything happen.
Which is nice, because you don't want to be pestered by these things forever.
Certainly not girlfriend.
No, for sure. Especially as a married woman, like, you don't want to have like a vengeful.
No, I would not. She would be finding herself exercised pretty quickly.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder if that lady's still going through it with her.
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't seen her since.
If girlfriend wants her for herself, like, is she going to make a move? Has she had some weird dreams about her? Like, where's the conclusion for that?
Yeah, unfortunately, during our sessions, I was only able to get so much information out of her.
Yeah, I would literally be like holding her down, like, tell me more. You gotta let me know more about this.
I will give you a free service. Just tell me.
Yeah, just expand on this.
No, I'm sure she would too. It's just our industry, we kind of have to read the room. And girlfriend was the one in the room.
Was she like cute though? Could you see like, oh, this is definitely like the vibe of, if I were a ghost, I would attach myself to this. Or was she just
chick?
like an average? Yeah. Like drop dead gorgeous or just sparkling personality? Like, was there like, yeah.
So I would say, imagine a mid-40s rich housewife.
Okay.
Blonde hair, eyelashes that reach the sky.
So kind of like a Pam Anderson type thing.
Housewives of Potomac. She was so nice. She was extremely nice. I can't say enough good things about her. She was very sweet. She did do a lot of yoga. That was her thing.
So I'm guessing like fit, maybe conventionally attractive.
Yep.
So my theory about girlfriend is that it's not actually a girl. Or maybe it is. It's just imagine who you would see getting attached to that kind of person in a defensive, she can only be mine kind of way.
Like a stalkerish way.
Yeah, stalkerish. Yeah. Like it seems like an internet nerd or like that's attached to like an Instagram model or something. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Not to call out the incel community. Shouts to the incels out there, dog.
Oh shit.
We've all been there.
Oh no.
So thank you, Erica, for coming on the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This is fun.
Absolutely. Well, God bless everybody. Get home safe. Thank you for tuning in to Spooky Show, and we'll see you next time. Now those were some frightfully fun stories. Howdy everybody, it's me, your host Danny, and I wanted to let you in on something special. You might have noticed that when I introduce the show, I say we are the Hometown Horrors Podcast. That's because there will always be at least 3 people in each episode. Me, the person who wants to hear a good story, the guest, the teller of a good story, and you, the listener, that takes that story and carries it with you out into the world. And we make up a special kind of trinity. We are the Hometown Horrors Podcast. And if you ever want to graduate from listener to guest, reach out to us via our handle on Instagram, hometown_horrors_podcast. Our email is thehometownhorrorspodcast, no spaces, @gmail.com, or via text or phone call at 571-358-8880, which FYI is not my personal number, but give it a ring. I'll get back to you, because if there's anything I've learned from doing the podcast is that everybody has a story, and that story deserves to be heard. On your #1 source for the most spine-tingling, gut-wrenching, insomnia-inducing stories around, the Hometown Horrors Podcast.